Everyone has a story. Stories have power. They help us understand each other. This is JESSOP'S Journal. Marchelle, it's time to sign into JESSOP'S Journal. Hi, I'm Doug Jessop. In this episode of JESSOP'S Journal, I have Marchelle Lee. Now, Marchelle, full disclosure, is kind of my behind-the-scenes inside source. Okay, and we'll get into that in a second. We've been doing the social distancing. We wore the mask. Yeah. You know, you got to do the hand sanitizing. Okay, you know, I've got the folks from Five Wise, and yes, they do make adult beverages as well. Spry. You gotta love this stuff. This is like the broadcaster's friend, mouth moisturizing. So I think we're ready to start talking. For people that don't know, what the heck do you do?
So as an executive producer, I basically am over the 2-hour show of Good Things Utah. It's live from 9 to 11 every weekday. And my job consists of helping to book and write all the segments. I watch all the scripts, and then during the show, I make sure that everyone is standing where they're supposed to, saying the things they're supposed to say, making sure the guests are all there and accounted for. I make sure that all the guests are shuffled on and shuffled back off and set up. And
so you are what I would affectionately call the master puppeteer. Yeah. And I'll be honest, I am shocked that you still have a beautiful full head of hair.
Oh,
because it's like,
you're sweet. Oh, it's gray. It's gray. Yeah, it's just covered up with hair dye. It's gray.
Okay, so the reason why I wanted to bring you on is recently we did an interview with Nicea DeGering, who I kind of call the godmother of Good Things Utah. She's been around there for forever. And she talked about what happens in front of the camera, you know, and all that stuff. But I bet a lot of people have no clue what happens behind the camera. Okay, so there's this one video that I did that actually, and I don't think you knew I was doing it. so I came into the master control room, and there's, just so people know, there's this big wall of camera, of screens and everything. There's lots of buttons and a whole bunch of people with AirFeds and a whole bunch of people pushing, and you are basically the conductor, I guess is probably a better way to put it.
Yeah, actually conductor is a good word for it, because I'm sitting in the chair, and sometimes I'm sitting in the chair, sometimes I'm on set. And so when you're in the chair, you have your headset on, you're talking to all the hosts, you're talking to the crew, you're talking to any live shots you have, you're making sure everybody knows how long they have to talk, what they need to talk about, where they need to stand. I mean, that's all through the headset. And so yeah, I think conductor's a good word for it, because we come up with the rundown. That's what we call it. The show is the rundown. And then when we take it into the control room, the director is in there with us to help execute it. So it's the producer and the director. And the director helps to they push the buttons and they tell the cameras where to go according to the show that we've planned. Okay, so I'm going to give people a little inside view, and I'm going to put you on the spot here, so I hope you know the answers to all this. Okay, so there are how many hosts? So usually we have like 4.
Okay, so we have 4 there. Okay,
4.
How many camera people do you have?
Sometimes it varies. Sometimes we have 3 people on the cameras, because we have 3 moving cameras, and then we have a floor director, and then we have someone on teleprompter. Right. So we usually have 5. Sometimes we have 4 to 6.
Okay, what's a floor director do?
My floor director is Jay. And
he is awesome,
amazing.
By the way.
He's a celebrity.
Shout out, Jay.
Shout out. Yeah. Celebrity in his own right. Everyone loves him. So Jay is the one listening to me and the director. He gives the commands out on set, and he mics everybody up and mics the guests up. And then once we set up the tables for guests, he picks up the tables with the other crew members, and he puts it on set. And so he goes the extra mile, though, and helps to organize the kitchen. Oh yeah. And keeps my head on straight when I always walk into wide shots or drop my rundown.
15 seconds, stand by.
To put it into sports terms, I would say that he is kind of the guy that is giving the signal. Yeah. You know, on the sideline of going, who's what the, and it's funny, because when I have people come on Good Things Utah, and everybody's different, but I have a requirement. Now, granted, this was pre-COVID.
Right.
That everybody that's going to be on TV, unless you've been on TV before, you got to come see a show.
Yeah, you do that. Yeah.
Because for us, this is what we do every day, and it's no big deal, but can be kind of a little intimidating for other people. Okay, now, how about you can see them, but how about hearing them?
So the director and the producer are right next to each other, and then there's glass, and then in a smaller room in the back there's audio.
Okay.
Yep. And he turns on all the microphones. He makes sure that everybody, that Jay mics up, that he can hear them properly. He also makes sure that all the hosts, their microphones and their IFB, which is the way they hear me.
Okay, now, a lot of people say IFB, but they don't have a clue what the heck it means.
It's funny.
So I got to see it. I know what it means.
I was going to say, please don't ask me what
I'm
IFB
going to ask
means.
you. Okay, so IFB means interrupted feedback.
It's I knew it was feedback, but I was like intergalactic feedback.
Woo. Well, some of the shows we've done, maybe, I was like, Mars Attacks. And then there are the people that are sitting next to you.
In the control room, the director's board now of buttons. It's just this rainbow of buttons, and they're pushing all the buttons. They're doing the technical directing while they're directing.
This cannot be just a left brain person or a right brain person. You got to kind of put it all together.
Yeah. You called me conductor. I think of myself as kind of a circus, like a ringleader, but not. I'm more like I'm juggling. I just feel like I'm constantly juggling and pretend I'm flawless at it. Never drop a ball.
For the most part, these shows are live.
Yeah, these shows are live.
What challenges does having a live show versus having a tape show present?
So I have worked on both, and I really prefer live because, I do. And it's because of the flaws. It's when things go awry, when things are not planned, that is when the magic happens. And I feel like that's when the hosts, which are incredible, and my other two producers are incredible. I feel like that's when the TV magic is made, and those moments are magic. And honestly, you can't plan them and you can't produce them. I'd like to produce them in my head, but when they go awry, they're beautiful.
So give me an example of some of those perfect moments where it wasn't quite planned, but man, that turned out fun.
So I have one actually that just popped in my head. So we have a host, Dina. She's pregnant. She's about 5 months pregnant now. She's adorable. And when we were doing her pregnancy/gender reveal, we had this big box, and we put the color of confetti of the baby that she was having. So it was going to be pink or it was going to be blue. And I got on a giant ladder and I hung it on the lights, and I put Nicea in the segment because she was long enough to pull the string, and the box was supposed to open and blow blue confetti all over the studio. And it was
glorious.
So glorious. And Nicea went to reveal.
3, 2, 1.
He pulled the string, and the string pulled off. It fell off of the box, and there's the box clear up there. So luckily it was Nicea, and she just started hopping in her high heels until she grabbed the box and it opened up. But I feel like that was the perfect example of I couldn't have planned that better. It was funny.
So good job, Nicea. I admit I put Nicea in some weird circumstances. Like, for example, I asked her to go up in an airplane, little Cessna, and they had her do landings, and everything, and they basically said, "Here, it's yours," And I have to admit, I did tell the guy beforehand, please bring her back safe.
I'm glad you're careful. Thank you.
So what are some of the crazier things that you have had?
So I haven't flown a plane, thank goodness. But I do feel like some of my things are less crazy, and I feel more lucky. I flew to New York for a movie opening. And that was nice. I was able to interview some of the celebrities in a movie, and I like doing that. And I love being able to go to the events that I go to and meeting the people that I go to. Being
very, very direct.
Okay.
People in the television business, unless you're in certain markets, we're not doing it for the money.
Right.
Okay, because you say, But we do get to meet some really, really cool people.
We do.
Have you had any, for lack of a better term, fangirl moments?
I've had a couple of really embarrassing ones.
Okay.
I feel like for the most part, I'm professional and I can act like it's no big deal. I've met Zac Efron, he was amazing. I've met Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman, and I was level-headed. Debbie Reynolds, Singing in the Rain, incredible. I've always loved her. She's in my top 5. I mean, Doris Day, Debbie Reynolds, Paul McCartney. You give me I will fangirl over them. And I found out Debbie Reynolds was coming in, and a few of my coworkers were like, sure, Debbie Reynolds is coming in. And so I was like, yeah, you're right, sure. just Debbie Reynolds. And when she came in, I wanted to cry. I was shaking. I was red. I feel like I'm getting red in the face talking about it now. I don't know what it was. She was sweet and classy and beautiful and wonderful. And she kind of swooped in, and she was wearing this like flowy outfit. Maybe I'm romanticizing it. But I just kind of freaked out. My entire crew was laughing at me because I was a producer at the time as well. And everyone laughed at me, and it's fine.
You said you had one when you were not.
Oh, this is so much worse, Doug.
Okay.
So much worse. So I was 17 years old, and I was in Europe. I was lucky enough to tour Europe when I was 17, and I was walking down the streets of London, and a greasy hair, and I was tired from traveling all day, and my group was standing on the side of the road, and I happened to look over, and a double-decker bus pulled up. And on the top level was NSYNC. And you have to remember, this is like the year 1999 NSYNC. This is massive. And I was a huge NSYNC fan. And I didn't just get red in the face and blush and gush. I screamed and shaking like I was a fan of the Beatles back in the 50s. Like,
there you go.
So
you did a Beatles moment.
It was so intense. And my pictures are shaky and they're blurry, but Justin Timberlake's waving over the side of the bus. And they even spoke to me to try.
Serious?
They tried to calm me down.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so, it was funny. Nicea had an interview many moons ago with Garth Brooks.
Garth Brooks, yeah.
Okay, and then 20 some years later, she had another interview with him and reminded him about that moment. I'm just thinking, as a producer, I'm thinking, that Justin Timberlake ought to be invited onto the show. Come on.
Well, I met Lance Bass last year. I think.
Okay.
Yeah, it had to have been 2 years ago because of COVID.
Did you tell him that story?
No.
Oh, come on.
I was so embarrassed still. 20 years later, I did not say anything. I told his publicist, and she laughed hysterically and said, "Go tell Lance." And I was
come
like,
on.
"No, I'm not telling Lance. I'm professional and grown up now."
Yeah.
I'm so professional.
Okay. Now, some celebrities are not exactly what you envision
Or hope. Yeah.
And so you got to think the pressure on these people to always be on
yeah.
is kind of crazy. Were there any particular celebrities that you have met that, I don't know if you would say they didn't meet expectations, but maybe they had some weird little quirks that they had to have all green M&Ms or some weird crazy thing like that?
Yeah. I mean, I hate to call them out. I love her, but when the first time I met Jane Seymour, she walked in, and I was young, and maybe I just thought I was this like hot young producer, and I don't know, I expected more, but she walked in and she just kind of looked me up and down, head to toe and back again, and just like looked away from me, and I was trying to talk to her about the segment, and it didn't go very well.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
And Tom Arnold, once we interviewed him, and that was an odd one. It just.
Well, okay.
I mean,
no offense, that one probably wasn't totally surprising at the time.
It's fine. We love him still.
It's like, we've talked a lot about what you do professionally, but
Right.
Everybody has this picture of us. Oh, you've got such a cool job. I hear that so many times. And you know what? We do.
Yeah.
We do. But what people don't seem to realize sometimes is kind of the back end stuff.
Right.
There are about 5 organizations in the entire country, broadcasting wise. And that's changed a lot since when I started.
Yeah.
And so there is that affectionate term of the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. In broadcasting, it's like 3.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got to be really careful about what you do with your reputation.
Yeah.
If you do something stupid on the air, or stupid off the air,
online,
she's online.
Yeah.
Well, okay, let's talk about that. How does social media play with what you do? Because I'm pretty sure that's a big part of your job.
Huge. Yeah, it's huge. I feel like, I have to post every day. You have to post every day on Facebook and Instagram, and now we're trying TikTok at Good Things Utah.
I saw that.
Yeah. It's definitely a struggle because it would be nice if maybe we had someone to do that, but it's just additional. So it's the producers, the 3 of us.
Wow.
The 2 producers and I post everything. And you have to do it every day. You have to make sure it's accurate, and you have to do it in a way that puts everybody in a good light because these people are gracious enough to come on the show. So we have all these wonderful restaurants and businesses and people that support us. So we try to post their things, and it's hard. It's hard to pick and choose what to do. I am not a social media guru. I'm just kind of, I do my research online, and I kind of take my own courses and try to keep up on the trends. But it's an integral part of our job, and web stories as well. Like, there's a lot of pressure to be online, because if you're not online, and I feel like this in any industry right now, if you're not online, you're not in business.
With the stories that you do on social media, are there certain ones that get, for lack of a better term, picked up more?
Nationally, I would say it's more recipes and celebrities.
Oh, really? Okay.
Locally, it's always if we have hosts together. And again, COVID's difficult, but when we have, before COVID, and we had them all scrunched in one picture, or they were all doing something together, if we have several hosts, I think people can see how much we love each other and how much we love our jobs and how much we want to share that. And I think that's picked up.
Well, there's definitely a chemistry to that.
Yeah. So. Oh, I'm so lucky. The team that I work with, I love them all.
Yeah.
I'm very lucky.
Well, talking about lucky, a lot of people don't know that you've gone through some pretty horrendous trials.
Yeah.
And, so this is my journal, and it's got marks all over the place. And I have a phrase that says, life comes with scars. Okay, you got one wicked scar.
He's got a gnarly scar.
so I know this sounds funny, and I'm not sure women want to talk about this, but tell me about your gnarly scar and what happened.
Oh, gosh, it was, okay, so when I was in Living Arizona, I was producing news, and I would go into a script, and I would leave the script and forget to go back. Or I would be standing there and my arms would go numb, or my legs would go numb, or I'd have memory loss. And I was living with constant headaches. But honestly, I was chalking it up to working overnights, because graveyards they'll do it to you. But then I had one bout of particularly bad headaches, and I went to the doctor, and she luckily ordered an MRI for me. And I went in and I found out that I had something called a Chiari malformation, which is basically a hole on the top of your spinal cord, and your brain is kind of smushing into it.
Oh dear.
Gnarly.
Not good.
So yeah, not good. It's something that you're born with, and I just didn't know, and I'm not sure what activated the symptoms so quickly in Arizona, but it was just a spiral, and it was hard to go to work, and I couldn't do anything. And so I had to get brain surgery, and I happened to be in the best place for it. I had a great doctor and a great hospital. The surgery itself went well, but that night, it didn't go well. And apparently in the middle of the night, I was on 4 doses of Dilaudid, which is basically quadruple the dose of morphine. So I was basically on like probably 16 doses of morphine. And luckily my husband decided to stay there, and he woke up randomly in the middle of the night, and he said my eyes were cockeyed and my face was blue.
Oh my gosh.
And so he started screaming and shaking me, and nurses came in and they were shaking me, and the only thing I remember, literally the only thing, is I remember opening my eyes and there was a woman screaming in my face, and I thought, let me sleep, you're being awfully rude. I'm sleeping.
Okay.
And then then I had this like swipe to my husband, and his face was probably 6 inches from mine, and I just looked at him and thought, he looks like a wreck. I need to stay awake for him because he's a wreck. I'll make sure that I'm okay. And I don't remember anything after that. I don't remember anything for a week, but I'm here, and it was very close. From what there's some debate on whether they should have brought in the crash cart. They never brought it in, but yeah.
Okay.
But now my gnarly scar is from the middle of my head down to the middle of my neck. But at the time I had to shave my head, and so I'd wear a scarf with like half of a shaved head. And everybody has a story. That one happens to be dramatic. It happens to be a story where you say brain surgery and the room kind of stops. But everybody's got their own version of something dramatic. It might not be cockeyed and blue in the face in a hospital room, but I feel like everybody's got those. And honestly, there have been, moments in my life where, oh, Doug, I said I wouldn't cry, but moments in my life where past then, even though that recovery was a full year, I threw up for 9 months and I could barely make it to work. But I would say, losing my dad 4 years ago worse than that. Yeah. I'd go through brain surgery again multiple times to have him back.
Well, you know, the thing that's interesting on Good Things Utah, a lot of the time, for good or bad, you guys end up going through things in life in front of a camera.
Yeah.
You know, because I mean, you know, I think about Reagan,
Yeah.
you know, going through a nasty divorce.
Yeah.
You know, and Nisha with her issues. You know, then Allie dealing with infertility, and now
Yeah.
she's got a baby.
And we've dealt with loss. So we lost a producer who was, I mean, Roxanne, she was with us for years, and she passed away of cancer, and that,
Yeah.
I wasn't.
Now you're going to make me cry,
I
because
know.
Roxy
I know.
was a sweetheart.
She was
you
the
know?
heart and soul.
Yeah. It does make me wonder if by sharing these stories, that somebody out there watching that's going through a real hard time can say, I'm not alone.
Yeah. I hope so. I hope so, because we do have so many fun times on the show. We have the best of times, and then we hit hard topics, and we have hard situations come up, and I do hope that those can reach out to people. And honestly, in this time, like this 2020 and 2021, I hope that not only you can commiserate, but then we can all lift each other up, and we can experience the nice moments and those moments of levity and those moments that we can kind of take ourselves out of that situation.
Yeah. The name of this series is called JESSOP'S JOURNal. Rustico makes all my journals. And yeah, I wasn't kidding. They're going to make one for you. It's going to look a lot nicer than this one, because this one has got the scars and everything, because they were going to throw this piece of leather away. And I said, no, I want this one, because it's got all it's got a gnarly scar.
Scars.
And yes, I've got a gnarly scar, and that's a whole nother story I'll talk to you about later. But they have a hashtag that I like to ask everybody. Marchelle Lee, how do you want to leave your mark?
I just want to it sounds so cliche, I just want to make people happy, and I want to make the world a better place any little bit that I can. And I just want to be the best mom of 3 boys that I can be, and snuggle them close, and just help them be successful in life.
Sounds good to me. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Got a couple of people we need to thank. Of course, again, you know, the folks at Rustico with the journals. We've got the folks with the Five Wives hand sanitizer. And yes, they do make adult beverages. And Madame Pantarini Gin, just so you know, the picture on there, this bottle's going with you. Not kidding, that is Brigham Young's son in drag. just saying, you can go online and look, but there is a story. Now, you think about washing your hands, but truly serious, have you thought about washing your nose?
What?
Clear nasal spray. They come to find out that this stuff up there, it helps prevent the COVID bacteria and everything from sticking to your nose.
Cool.
So that's kind of the biggest no-brainer. And then, of course, Taylor Cooperative tries to make me look good with the wardrobe, and JW Custom Hats. Here's what I want people to remember. Everyone has a story. Stories have power. They help us understand each other. With another entry into Jessop's Journal and Marchelle Lee, I'm Doug Jessop, ABC4 News.